Welcome back. Once again, we're going to be working on a Corvette. But this time, it is a 1992 Azure Blue Corvette. This time, we get to do a... What are we doing today? That's right, we're doing a power steering pump today. Never done one in a Corvette, but it shouldn't be too hard. Basic rules apply. Make sure your car is in park. If you read a manual, it's going to tell you once again, disconnect the battery. But I'm pretty sure most of you are smart enough that you're not going to be messing with any electrical stuff when you're taking the power steering pump out. There should be no electrical stuff involved, so I'm not going to worry about that. And I think I might have to get underneath the front. Just quick looking at it before, so you may want to chock the right rear wheel since the power steering pump is on the driver's side. While I wait for the what is that, CFL bulb and the drop light to warm up so that I can see, it is currently 27 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't suggest doing it, but that's what I gotta do, because see all that brightness over there? The garage door is broke. Don't have any heat, and used to be able to warm my hands with the light bulb from this thing, but since we can't have them incandescent bulbs no more, now I'm going to have cold hands through the whole thing. But it's okay, we'll still get the job done. And right here is our remanufactured power steering pump to replace the one that's in the car. Nice, small, gets the job done. As you can tell, it's not much bigger than my hand. About the size of a Lionel boxcar. Not even. In fact, it probably only weighs about as much as an older Lionel train engine. Actually, probably even less than that. So, our light bulb is fully warmed up. So, here, there's the alternator. That pulley right there should be our power steering pump. That you can see the hard line right there. That should be it. So, we're going to say, pull the belt, pull the alternator just for access. So, okay, maybe disconnect the battery if you're that worried about it, and go from there. Oh yes, and another thing, since I know a lot of people forget to look it up, sometimes there's out there, sometimes these aren't here. If you're working on an older car, or some people just don't pay attention, this particular setup with the air conditioning goes around the outside of the AC, outside of the alternator. It curves back around the power steering pump. Then it goes down there, and it would be technically, I guess, down and to the right of the pulley. Yes. And it curves from there to over top of the crank pulley. After it comes underneath the crank pulley, it comes back up, goes over this idler pulley down here, and then back up around the air conditioning pump. Alright, I'm disconnecting the battery. Found out a little issue. The under hood lights actually work in this car, and I don't want to kill the battery, so I'm going to disconnect them just so I don't kill the battery. Now for battery bolts, I find that the 5/16 and the 8mm have about the same amount of play. 5/16 may be a little bit tighter. Your results may vary since someone else may have worked on your car and put different stuff in there. They may not be as worn out, or 7mm is definitely too small, and so is the 9/32. So I'm going to go with the 5/16, and we'll see what happens. Next is removing the serpentine belt. As you could tell from here, it's a little foggy. Right above the crankshaft pulley is our movable tensioner. It's not an idler. If you look down here, I have a 5/8" wrench on there, and I have a 15mm wrench interlocked into the end. There's not a lot of space for trying to get a ratchet down there, so this is the way to go. Besides, a good tensioner doesn't require too much effort to move anyway, as you can see. I just got to put the phone down so I can reposition so I can do this a little bit better. I rerouted the wrench to come up between these hoses. Granted, when I pull all the way, I put a little bit of tension on the hose, but it does appear to bring me to full release for the tensioner. And I should be able to with my thumb. Okay, maybe I can't do it with one thumb. And I should get this off. Yay, belt removal. Technically, full removal isn't necessary for this job, but it doesn't hurt to pull it out and inspect it. It's a little gunky, a little dirty, but not too bad. There's no major cracks or major frays, so it's reusable. Now, if you've spent any time under the hood of these cars, I'm sure that you've noticed by now that there's a wide array of Torx bits under here. So Torx bits are a good thing to have when doing this project, because you're going to need one of these. A T50. I got lucky and there was one in the toolbox. Forgot that it was hiding back there. I thought I was going to have to run to the parts store. But yeah, this goes for the alternator. You have these nifty little Torx bits there and here, and it's a little 3/8 drive, but gets the job done, right? And just to make your life interesting, on the inner side, the center of the car, that Torx bit is all by itself. Then on this side, the Torx bit, of all things, has a 15mm lock nut on the end. And the back of the alternator that attaches to the bracket uses a 1/2 inch. So, and there we are. Alternator sitting up. That's about all the room that the wiring's going to give you. So if you want to be safe, you just run like a real big zip tie from the pulley here to like, I don't know, maybe the throttle cable. You know, not too tight, but just enough to just keep it tensioned, to keep it from flopping back down. Because, look, there's our bolts that we need to get to. Well, 1, 2, there's 3 of them. There's one down there. Now, some of you with skinnier hands might have been able to work yourself through the pulley and not move the alternator. But my beat up old mangled hands, they don't flex like that anymore. So this was the way to go. Plus it makes it easier getting to that guy right there. Alright, the size for this hardline is 5/8. I had to go find one because if you didn't quite notice, this one's still here. Because without the belt on it, the tensioner kind of pushed the wrench against the coolant line, and yeah, I think I'm just going to leave that there so I don't have to fight with that later on. All I got to do is give it a little twist and put the belt back in place. So, here we go with removal of the hardline, as long as it works. Well, this is why I'm making this video, and you guys are watching it, probably. There's not quite enough clearance with a regular wrench to undo that because of the bracketry here. So we're going to take these mount bolts off, or at least loosen them up. They can be accessed through the pulley. As long as you got the stock pulley, you can see the light through the holes. And I found that a quarter drive with a 10mm socket. That's what, a 2-inch, 3-inch extension. And you just stick it right through the hole. Get it on there. And there, that one's loosened up. And then we'll get this one down here. This bad boy right here is going to be my friend. I dropped one of the 2 bolts for the power steering pump, and luckily it hasn't gone too far. Let me see if I can backlight this. Might be able to just see it laying there, almost dead center screen. Out of focus. Come on, focus, focus, focus. There it is. Hey, how you doing? Now, this car has a belly pan for a bit, and I don't want to have to take that down to get it. So I like this guy right here because, yay, it bends. I'm sure there's many others like it. Many guys have straight ones. I like these ones that bend. This particular one's a snap-on one, guaranteed never to break. I've tried, haven't been able to break it yet. So, reach that down in there. And there it is, pull that out. This one, yay, we're learning. Found a little surprise that I didn't realize until just now. Here, let me show you. That bolt that I dropped was actually, let's see if maybe I can get this into focus. So light, so focus. Hey look, right there, see that? It's actually a bracket. I took the bolt out of the bracket, and this bolt's coming out of this bracket. That bolt right there, you see it still run all the way in. That attaches the bracket to the power steering pump, which meant there was actually one more bolt. If you look, let's see, here's, give me a reference point. That's where alternator would go. Well, it'll be down and towards the center line of the car. That's where the actual third mounting bolt for the pump is. So you have one here, nice and long. That one down there is most likely the nice and long too, that goes to the big bracket. And you've got this one up here, which goes to the 2 little bracket pieces that go from here to there, down, well, way down there, for I guess extra support. I'm gonna be pulling that bracket out with the pump, so I can just attach it to the new pump or reuse pump, or you know what I mean. Be careful when doing the dance. That is turning wrenches, because all of your work's going to be like right here, right here by this wheel. Yeah, if you bounce around too much, guess what? The roll may not come crashing down upon you, but that heavy ass hood, when you knock that support and it comes on you because the shock may not be in the best shape, guess what? That's heavy. That hurts. Be careful. Yeah. Alright. I've got this line disconnected. All the bolts are out. She's moving around. One last problem. The lower hose. Oh no. Get this lid down here. Oh, where did that hose go? Where can it be? Okay. You see the pulley. If you look just past that pulley, it'll be just off to the right of center screen. You can just barely make out the hard line going into the slightly lit rubber line for and then you can just above that make out the little bit of a hose clamp. That's all I gotta do now. The problem is, I put the hose clamp on, has it facing the head of it facing the engine. Well, I'm unhappy to say that after a short break, I've come to realize that I cannot fit my hands down there to get that lower hose clamp. So that means I'm going to have to remove slightly, or at least so I can reposition the air conditioning pump so I can get my hand and arm down in there. There's just not enough space for me to do it. That looks like it's going to require me to move this bolt, and then there's another one there, another one there, with a 10mm socket on a ratchet. If you've made it this far into the video before starting the project, congratulations! You can save yourself a little bit of hassle that I just learned. Now, the lower rear bolt on the power steering pump, while yes, you can get it loose, it must come all the way out so the air conditioning pump can move. Unfortunately, it has to come through a bracket. That bracket's attached to the cylinder block, the exhaust manifold, and in order to save yourself some trouble, this panel I mentioned before, just undo the 5 bolts, pull up on the weather stripping, and look at that, comes right out. Now look, massive amount of access to the bottom of the air conditioning pump. Yay. AC pump is twisted up out of the way. About as far as it moves. You need to remember to disconnect this guy right here, which is that right there. Oh, try to do this. That's a little bit better, right? Yes, I know a lot of this video has been out of focus. Trying to shoot it with a phone, an older phone. But now you can see how much extra room that I have to get down in here. Now I could stick my hand underneath here and do it now too, because that's out of the way. Or I could just go from up top, which is what I'll probably end up doing. But that makes life a little bit easier. The hoses don't allow me to move that much more than that. It is, I don't want to have to redo the air conditioning too, so it's just kind of, the weight is holding it up there. But the tension of the hoses actually pretty more stable than the alternator. I took a flathead screwdriver, pretty beefy, and I stuck it in here. I've knocked that thing about 4 times now and had the hood fall on me. I got tired of it, so you might want to think about that yourself, just as a safety precaution. Oh, there, this guy right here was the issue. Right down there on that hose, like this, and it was facing back and down like that. You can see how hard it was going to get to. If it was only spun around like this, it would have been a lot easier to do. Let me feel that line. That line feels good. Make sure there's no cracks. Yeah, feels alright. I spilled a little bit when I took it off, but it was already leaking a little anyway. Dad said it was the pump and not the lines, so let's look at the pump. And here's the pump out of the car. You know, bits and pieces coming off, paint coming off. Let me turn this light on. It's a little bit better. Focus. Well, I don't see where it was leaking from here, but if it was, replacing it's going to help. Just got to get this pulley off. That means, let me see something. Plastic. So I can't go hemming and hawing on there. like I wanted to. Let me see if I have a puller and put some lube on there. There it is. Focus. There it is. Had to run to the parts store because the one that was supposed to be here, it wasn't. This particular one can do 2 different sizes pulleys. The GM one would be the smaller size. Fords are a little bit bigger. When you use it, make sure you throw a little bit of like PB Blaster, some oil or something on here, since you're going to be putting some pressure on there. It's always good to have a little bit of lubrication. Pretty much you center that over the hole, bring these bad boys around it so they'll grip onto the lip on the pulley. And then when that's all said and done, you take this ring, you slide it over until it's all the way down like that, and then you get a wrench here and a wrench here, tighten it up, and it'll pull the pulley off without breaking that, because it's made of plastic, and you start wailing on with a hammer, you know what's going to happen. There is the pulley off the old pump. There's the new pump, and you can see where the goo has been pressing out around the shaft of the old pump. That's most likely where all the power steering fluid was coming from. Now, most of you may notice that you can't see it good in here because I don't have my light on there very well, but it looks like an Allen head wrench goes in the end of the pump shaft here, which it does. There is set up for, I don't know the size, it's not marked on this Allen head, but that does that. But what people don't notice is way down in the shaft there's a threaded section that screws in, so you can do this pulley pusher to install the pulley onto there. So basically all you're going to do is you're going to take your pulley that you just took off, just set it on top, run, oh, dummy, throw a little bit of lubrication on there. PB Blaster works alright. Run it down in, screw it in, and eventually you'll hold that in place with one wrench. Use another wrench on this one, push it in place. Make sure you hand screw it all the way down until it stops. That way you're getting the most holding ability, so you don't strip the threads out. And there's how it should look once it's all back together. That's about how much space should be for it to be flush enough. There's a little O-ring right here. This goes on the end of there, which goes in there that we took out earlier. Make sure you take the old one off, put the new one on so it seals. In this case, I'm going to run the bag under hot water for a little bit to warm the O-ring up to make it more pliable, so you're less likely to rip the O-ring when you go to install it. It's back in. Remember, depending on whether or not you took that bracket out, extra bracket, there's 3 to 5 bolts hold it in. Make sure you get that guy tightened down right there. And that little pain in the butt hose clamp underneath. Okay, it's all bolted back up, plugged in. Time for that panel and that. Yep, now that's back installed. All happy. Next, the alternator. The alternator's reinstalled now. All we got left is belt, battery, power steering fluid. She is done. I have to say, if there was anything that I could have done differently from the outset of this, it would be that the front left tire, I put a silly spare on there because it will give you more leg room. You can sit on the silly spare and have your legs in there, let you move around. You don't have to reach all the way over the tire. And what else? That's probably it, really. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing, is doing that and making sure you have all your tools beforehand. Let me take a look. One sec. You're looking at, I took 6 hours and 20 minutes from walking into the garage to cleaning up the tools. Now, it should take a lot less time. You must remember I also had a food run for me and my son. I had a separate run, 25-mile round trip to the parts store for the pulley pullers. So you're looking at, if you figure in it's low speed limits and waiting in line, it's probably 45 minutes, maybe an hour for that. And then the food run was probably 30 minutes for me and my son, and a bathroom break, 20 minutes maybe. And the fact that if you're doing this, you've seen my issues, you have an idea what you're getting into. So I'm thinking my 6 hour and 20 minute, 5 hour and 20 minute, whatever I said it was, I think you should be able to do it in 2 hours, 3 maybe. Running some minor issues, like, I tell you what, if that hose clamp underneath wasn't facing the wrong way, that alone would have saved me an hour of time. So, best of luck. Thanks for watching. And things keep going the way they're going right now. I'll have another Corvette video in the next 2 years, and it'll be a different color.